Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm Kevin Castley. Thanks for being here tonight. Tonight, I just wanted to do a quick update on the situation regarding the webcam. I know a few people have been asking about this. When will the streams in which I actually show my face be reappearing? Well, that'll be soon. I have been doing some research and, I was very busy, but I initially was presented with the fact that my computer doesn't have enough memory to keep it up and whatnot, and it's an older laptop, and so I was looking at upgrading it, but I'm thinking that at this point I'm likely going to go with a refurbished system instead and just get a completely new system. So as opposed to spending money trying to upgrade the memory and processing in this laptop that I'm using now. So at some point within the next couple weeks, that should be dealt with. In the meantime, the streams will continue as they are with the avatars. We got this one here that Arthur made for me. This one's really cool. I like the Hawks too, like this guy. And then, of course, we got a lot of memes and everything. We got Trump and Bolton right here. Timothy Spin made that one. Very talented guy. Bit of an update on the situation with this guy right here, School Computer Boy. He's still not down to debate. He's still dodging me. Doesn't want to do it. Making up excuses. You hate to see it, right? What a child. This guy right here. That guy. That clown. We will do the debate at some point, though, because I'm not letting it go. He's School Computer Boy. Reese on Twitter is still School Computer. Kamal Jeet on Twitter, School Computer. The School Computer memes are not going to die until this dude actually does the debate. He brought up the idea of myself, him, and some other dude doing a three-way debate the other day. And I'm like, dude, just do the debate that we agreed to. 1v1. Keeps on trying to get out of it. Of course, right? Because he's scared. He's a fraidy cat. He's Even Stevens, School Computer Boy. It is mid-August. Where's the school computer? Because I'll do the debate, so. This guy right here. Due to his parents have enough money to send him to Harvard or Stanford. But apparently he doesn't have a computer. How sad. How sad. What a poor excuse. What a poor excuse right there. Yeah, hashtag school computer. Oh, we got Henry here. He says, oh God, let me moderate. Oh, I'm down. I'm down. The only question is, when is School Computer Boy going to get his school computer together? Oh, we got Dr. Zayas bringing us the school computer. Yeah, that's right. Hashtag school computer. Let's get that trending. School computer, right? What a meme. What an absolute meme. So, as far as the situation with Dylan, I haven't messaged him. I've been too busy. He's a busy guy too. He hasn't messaged me. So I don't know if the debate's still happening. I'm in no hurry personally. And honestly, I don't think he's in a hurry either. Now, he's not scared. I'm not scared. He's a busy dude. He streams daily. I'm a busy dude. I stream daily. So, but it should happen at some point. That'll be an interesting debate. I know a lot of people have been anticipating this for a long time now. So, I feel quite confident going into it. I mean, you all saw, how I handled it with Liz. I'm not somebody who, when you say, oh, but that's nukes, those are spooky nukies. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'm here to have a conversation. They've got nukes. What are we going to do about it? You're not going to throw me off by saying like, oh, look at this guy. He's talking about using nukes. It's like, yeah, I literally don't care what you think of me. So Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to be the voice of reason. Somebody has to recognize, oh, yeah, if we didn't want a nuclear war, we probably should have done something before they got nukes. Now it's kind of unavoidable. So otherwise, they're going to start it. And they won't be starting it when they're weak. They'll be starting it when they're strong and when they're ready. So I don't want to wait for the war on their terms. I want the war to be quick and over on the West terms. So fewer people will die. Fewer cities will be lost. The West will be able to retain its status as the preeminent civilization in the world. NATO will still be a thing, etc. So, got WR Winter here, hot gang. How's everybody doing tonight? Like I said, it's going to be a quick stream. Just wanted to update you all on the computer situation. So, yeah. So, basically, I'm not going to be upgrading my laptop in order to get more processing, more memory, that kind of stuff anymore. I'm going to instead be getting a refurbished system and just go with a new platform, you know. So if anybody's got any suggestions or any tips or anything around that, I've never bought a refurbished computer before, but I will, appreciate any advice. I know Jay, the War Kettle, right? Hawk J, he was giving me advice on that. And that should be sorted out in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll be back to, streaming with the webcam. That's not to say every stream's going to be with the webcam because I'll have two laptops then. So, if I'm in a rush or whatever, I'll have my avatar on this one. And if it's more professional, if it's a bigger deal, I'll be suited up or whatever, my face on with the other laptop over at my desk, right? The Superpower desk. So we got Zayas asked what kind is it? Well, the one I'm using right now is an Acer F15 with an i5 processor and 8 gigs of DDR4 memory. But I'm looking at getting a refurbished system that's a Intel i7 with 16 gigs. So it cost a few $100 just to up the memory on this one. I'd rather just get a whole new laptop altogether at that point. So, but Zaya says he never did either. Well, the thing is, there are other systems out there that you can buy on like Best Buy, you can buy on Staples, you can even buy on Walmart's website. But I'm pretty sketched out reading a lot of the reviews and everything. It seems like half of the people, they turned out to be duds. And they're like big waste of money. So if I do get a refurbished system, I'm going to a local refurbisher that I actually trust. So, and they come with a warranty and everything. And, it's a face-to-face interaction. It's not just ordering online on Best Buy or whatever. Now, there's a lot of good systems that in theory, if they were actually, good gear, lived up to the specs, I would have ordered them on Best Buy a long time ago, right? But I ain't got that kind of money to throw around and have it not work. So, and I know people have been saying, well, you should get a desktop tower as opposed to a laptop because they'll allow you to upgrade it more and everything. But yeah, I'm kind of strapped on cash these days. So down the road, once that's not the case, I will, I'll upgrade to, more advanced towers and so on and so forth. But right now, I'm going to be rolling a laptop just for the next couple years until I can get some money together, right? So Reason Visions here says, welcome to a wonderful Wednesday. Yeah, it's actually still Tuesday for me. I'm on the left coast right now, so we're a little bit behind here. So we got John Smith's basement says, if you have Micro Center in Canada, you can just walk in there and the folks can probably help you out. Yeah, that sounds like it's probably an American brand. I haven't heard of Micro Center. You can look that up, but I didn't come across it when I was looking up local refurbishers and everything. So, Micro Center. Yeah, I'm just gonna check that right now. Yeah, no, the site that I'm looking at is only an American company, so Zaya says just find a tower that somebody's throwing out, pick it out the trash, then just buy all the new stuff. Yeah, see, if I had time and the know-how, I could do that for sure. May save a bit of cash here or there. I work all the time and I'm a boomer, so I'd be lost. So I gotta get a pro to do it. So I know politics and stuff. I don't really know tech. We got Reason Vision here. He says I have a desktop tower. Makes it much easier to work or focus. It's because a laptop is much cozier and more convenient. It's easier to be lazy when working on a laptop. Well, I don't actually ever. I've never really used my laptop as a laptop. Like I don't really use it on my lap or anything. I always use it like right now. For example, I'm sitting at my desk. I have a keyboard here that's actually USB plugged into the laptop because the laptop's sitting up on my desk. Obviously, I have my microphone, and I've got a mouse as well. So I use a keyboard and mouse. So the experience is as if I were using a desktop tower with a monitor, but instead it's on a laptop because the laptop's cheaper for everything else. Like if you got all the same processing power at ceteris paribus, it's going to be cheaper to get a laptop. So I always use laptops. So, but yeah, there's not as much customizability or anything to that. But like I don't game on laptop. Like if I ever do any like gaming casually with like friends and stuff, I always play on mobile. So because that way, uh, you know, mobile it's dual use, right? You can use it for gaming or as a phone, so it's easier to justify cost on it. I can't justify spending money on a gaming system, for example, so like that's specifically dedicated to gaming. Down the road I could justify getting a gaming desktop, for example, if I'm using it as my superpower computer, for example. So Reason Vision says yes, but you can take your laptop with you. With a desktop computer, you have to set up a working space. Oh man, I got a working space set up and everything. If you watch my old pre-recorded videos, you can see my studio. So, it's about as professional as you can get with the budget. So, have you guys been watching the convention? Because I haven't seen a second of it. I've been way too busy. Zaya says, I just checked and my laptop is basically identical to mine. i5, yep. 8 gig, Windows 7. Well, mine's Windows 10. And he says, and it's getting real slow, man. I feel you 100%. I feel you. It's so weird. Like I said, I don't know tech. So those who do know tech could easily correct me on the pricing and all this stuff and the cost structure and whatnot in the chat, or in the comments later. But when I've been looking around just to kind of get an idea, because I'm very mistrustful and I'm very risk averse. And when I see all these refurbished desktops, I'm like, yeah, but can't really take the risk with that. That's a big chunk of cash to throw out. So I gotta go new, or somebody I absolutely trust to refurbish it. In the case of the local place, and they don't have any refurbished laptops with an i7 processor. They only got a desktop, I should say. They only have one laptop, so I'm going to get that probably. But I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, there are all these desktops out there new ones, and they're like, upwards of $1,000. And I'm like, yeah, but they're all i5s. They're all like, some of them are even i3s. The i7s get to be like thousands of dollars. And I'm like, there's no way, dude. There's no way. Like, even if I had $100,000 lying around, I'm not going to do it. Like, it's way too much capital. So I got to go refurbished on that. I'm like, I don't understand why it's so expensive, and I don't understand how it's 2020 and they're all still i5s. Like, I got my laptop like 4 years ago or whatever, and it's an i5. Why isn't it come now? Why isn't it more accessible? Why isn't basically everything in i7 now, and then the elite tier, the premium tier, i9? Why is it still all working on like i5s? You would think that it would like go up, but again, I don't really understand like the tech industry very much. I understand that an i5 is enough to like surf the web and everything still, but like you can't really stream to, like, it's the basic to stream to Twitch. Like, you can almost get away with it, what I do. But you see how like even over the last few months when I was doing it, it would sometimes, exceed the memory capacity. But, then now that's the memory angle to it. But that's another thing. All these desktops, I'm like, okay, so I get that it's brand new, but it's brand new. It's i5, it's 8 gigs, and it's $1,000. Now I'm in Canada, so that's like 650 American dollars. I'm like, that sounds overpriced to me. I don't get it. I would think for $1,000, I'm going to be getting not the state of the art, not the newest stuff, but definitely more advanced than this, like the specs on the laptop I bought 4 years ago. Like, what? So maybe somebody can explain that to me in the chat. I don't really get that. I don't get that at all. Like, I'm serious. You go on Best Buy, Staples, any of these sites, most of the new laptops and desktops that they're going to have for like under $1,200, some of them even $1,300, they're all like i5s, 8 gigs. Like, if I'm saying that kind of money, and again, I don't really know the industry too much, I better be getting like at least i7 and 16 gigs around, like just at a minimum, right? Because I can get a refurbished laptop from the local refurbisher, $600, i7, 16 gigs, and I trust these guys, so I'm probably going to get that in the next couple days. Because I've been looking at PC towers and stuff, and it's like it's going to be a couple grand, and there's no way that's happening. So, there's no way. There's no way. So, Reason Visions here says, oh, I know you're doing great. This is mostly advice for members of your audience who don't know this. Well, we appreciate that, man. We got Dr. Zayas. He says, I didn't see any of it tonight. Saw a bunch of clips from last night. See, I didn't even see those. John Smith says, it's not worth watching, to be honest. I feel like most people have made up their minds on who they're voting for at this point. Zayas says, the speeches I saw were fine. The filler content was abysmal. Well, you know what? It is a Democratic convention, so that doesn't surprise me at all. I feel like Republican conventions are more entertaining. Like, honestly, regardless of your politics, by the way, because I used to be like an unironic fan of the Young Turks, and I used to be a Democratic socialist when I was in high school, and I thought the Republican conventions were more entertaining. And now I'm like center right, and I think the Young Turks are cringe. But, I'm still supporting Biden. But I still think that the Republican convention's probably going to be a bit more entertaining. So we got Zayas writes, but to also get to John's comment, though, how most people have already made up who they're voting for. Like, that's true. I think that's always true in every election. Really, what it comes down to is swaying about 5% of the electorate. Because every election, apart from like Reagan and stuff, comes down to like 5% of the popular vote differential, right? So Zayas says, there was this insanely weird Tim and Eric-esque performance of For What It's Worth, with Stephen Stills and some extremely gay Broadway actor who was dressed like a vampire. Well, I'll have to check it out at some point. John says, streaming is usually dependent on the graphics card. Not sure how much OBS is optimized from jumping from I don't use OBS. OBS can't work on laptops. So I use StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard Premium right now because, I've tried, my buddies, Reese, we try to get OBS to work. It does not work if unless you're using a PC tower. But I'm too much of a boomer to figure out OBS anyway. StreamYard works perfectly for me. It lets me run the Chiron, lets me bring up clips, lets me do cool stuff like this. This is about, as uh, graphically intense as we're going to get right now at this phase of the show. We're just starting out, right? Like we're at about 3% towards financial viability in terms of Patreon right now, which is awesome for a small channel. 350 subs. Now I know I lost a few subs in the last couple days. Well, the last day, that's fine. If you watched my very controversial little rant yesterday, where I lambasted those that were sympathetic to communism, well, if 3 communist sympathizers or outright communists are no longer subscribed to me, well, guess what? That's a win. That's not a loss. You're like, okay, move along. We want real hawks here, right? So people say to me, they're like, you should debate Vosh. It's like, let's say that we did debate Vosh. What would happen? Would I gain subs? Sure. Now I'm going to have a bunch of people in the chat calling me a chud and an evil American imperialist and all this stuff. It's like, why? Why would I want that? Like, I want quality subs. I don't want like the brainlet brigades of like Kremlin Kyle and whatnot, where you can just make farting noises and they'll eat it up. I want quality subs that we can have like a good conversation with, like most of the streams, unless the haters and traitors arrive and post cringe. But when it's just the hot gang, we have good discussions. We got detailed comments. We got serious questions in the Q&A period when we got guests on and everything. Like, you guys take this seriously. We also have fun. We got a lot of memes. I don't want like this chat, everything, this community that we created here being drowned out with communist cringe. So now I'm not saying that I won't debate Vosh at some point. I mean, it's almost inevitably going to happen, right? But I'm in no hurry, right? So that's kind of the point there. So Zaya says the video quality when you were doing it was usually good. The stream would just crap out all the time. That's the problem, because my it would exceed the memory capacity of what I had. I got 8 gigs of DDR4. Most people say you want to run it properly, you got to have 16 gigs. But like, my laptop's old and slow. So if I can get an i7 laptop with 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs solid state drive, compared to what I got right now, 1 terabyte hard drive, not solid state, 8 gigs, not 16 gigs, and i5, not i7, then I'm improving in like all those areas. It's got a better graphics card. For $600, that's actually not bad. Now, if I were to buy that kind of thing new, here's the crazy part. If I were to get that new with that specs, like those specs, we're talking like double the price. We're talking like $1,500, $1,800 kind of range with taxes. If I can get it for $600, like I'm going to jump on that. And then in a couple years, buy a desktop. That's kind of the idea, right? You move up. You don't just get like, oh, I'm going to buy a $20,000 gaming PC to start with. It's like, no. You get there when you get like 5 million subs or whatever, right? After we kick the Young Turks' ass and pass them in like 8 years or whatever, 10 years, right? So, oh yeah, the benchmarks on like solid state, way better, way better. So, but even better being dead than red. Absolutely. Screw the communists. Screw the communists. I tweeted that out earlier. Not sure who this guy is. We got some random over on Twitch. That's cool. That's cool. Welcome to the show. I tweeted out over on Twitter earlier. By the way, go and follow me on Twitter if you haven't yet. I lost a few subs, or I lost a few followers over there because I was tweeting things that were critical of communism, which again, not a loss, not anything missed. 5 fewer communists as far as I'm concerned following me. Less toxic space to tweet in, right? Now, the whole platform's toxic with the exception of the hot gang, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, I tweeted out, I'm like, I would rather, and I'm 100% serious about this, like, I would rather die in a nuclear war against the Russians or the Chinese than be a slave to them. Like, this idea that, like, oh, we have to be bullied, we can't do anything or whatnot. No, I'm done with that. Done with that. I used to be scared of nuclear war when I was in high school. Now, I don't fear it at all. because I know if it does come to that, we're gonna win. Like even if I die, they're not coming out of that positively. So, and like I said, I'd rather die free than live as a slave. So I don't worry about that anymore. Um, John Smith said, yeah, basically need to convert apolitical YouTube viewers into hawks. Yeah, see, like that's the thing. Now, I've said it before, like 80% of Kyle's fan base, they just watch him because their friends do. Like they just don't know anything different. And when they watch the right for, other ideas to get a diverse palette of news, they watch brainlets like Nick Fuentes or whatever, and he also says war bad. Or they watch Charlie Kirk and he says war bad. So we just kind of have to expose them to the hawk thing. And you can say, well, the debates, maybe that's a good way of going about it. It's kind of adversarial. I don't know about that. Because in a debate, you're not trying to change the other person's mind. You're not really even trying to get them to agree with you. Now, I was able to do that with Liz a little bit. But, she's obviously not the best at debating. Debating is kind of an art in that sense. You're trying to destroy the other person. You're not trying to be their friend, right? That doesn't really tend to bring very many people over, even if you win, because they're going to look at it as like, oh, what a bad guy or whatever. You kind of have to just kind of let it happen naturally in many ways, because I've had people that just randomly find my old videos and they're like, oh man, you changed my view of international relations. You changed my view of war, of intervention. And I look at them like, that's why I do what I do. It starts 1, 2, 5 people at a time. You keep it up 10 years, 20 years, we're going to get to a point where no matter which party wins, we are going to be, we're going to have a tough foreign policy. So we're going to have a strong military. We're going to have strong national security. We're not going to be as victim to terrorists anymore. We're going to have a strong security apparatus that can nip these guys before they even do their attacks, right? But instead, we live in an internet culture where, oh, Patriot Act bad. Al Qaeda was actually the victims. You don't understand. Bush lied, war for oil, that kind of stuff. No, it's stupid. I support the National Security Agency. I support the CIA. I support CSIS. I support every organization fighting terrorism in America and Canada, right? So. Reason Vision says, my parents lived under communism. They succeeded in spite of and not because of it. Yeah, nobody ever succeeded because of communism, with the exception of Stalin and Mao and Kim. John Smith says, so apparently Bolton isn't voting for Trump, but isn't voting for Biden either. No, I watched an interview with him where he talked about that. He said that he will be writing in a conservative. He won't be voting for Biden. And you know what? Gotta keep it real. I've read about a quarter of his books so far. I'm a slow reader. Once I'm done, I'll have a video out reviewing it. That'll probably be a couple months from now. But with Bolton, I've watched a few of the interviews. I get it. I've followed Bolton for a long time. He doesn't really like Joe Biden that much, but even more so, I get it. He's worried people like, Kamala Harris, obviously, but people further to the left of her are going to have a lot of sway over that administration. And you know what? That is a logical worry to have if you're John Bolton. He was campaigning for Goldwater when he was 15 years old. Man is a lifelong Republican, regardless of how Trump and the cronies try to frame him as like a Democrat or whatever. He's not. He's a very loyal Republican, and he's very conservative. And, I think that Biden has a lot of appeal to conservative type voters. He's kind of a blue dog Democrat, but John Bolton's really conservative. That's not going to cut it for him. So he's going to write in a different conservative. And you know what? I can understand that. I know that we got a lot of Bolton haters online. Anytime Bolton tweets out anything, it's all, why didn't you testify? Why didn't you testify? Why didn't you testify? Yeah, well, I've talked about this before. He didn't owe the Democrats shit. because guess what? They only were interested in him. They were only being nice-ish to him. They were only saying, "Oh, you need to testify, man. We want you to testify." They only wanted him there because Orange Man bad. The second the Orange Man's out, where are they going to go back to doing? They're going to call him a ghoul. They're going to call him a neocon ghoul. They're going to say he likes to kill little kids. That he likes to bomb brown babies. So he's like, no, I don't owe the Democrats anything. I don't owe them any of my time. And you know what? I can respect that. It's the same with me. When the debate me bros, the Mills bros, those kinds of people are like, debate me, debate me, debate me. It's like, you have no audience. You're a disrespectful, petulant little cretin. I am not owing any of my time to you. You're not worthy of any of my time. Now, if you got an audience, you can still be annoying, like Liz, but 8,000 followers, that's not nothing. We can do the debate. But you get the idea, right? John Bolton, he's too old. He's too old to care. He's too old to be taken advantage of, to be used as a political pawn against Trump, so that the party that he disagrees with on just about everything can score political points. No, I understand it. I understand it. Now, I know that people say, well, he should have cared about the country and this and that and everything. Yeah, well, so should the Democrats. They should have gone out of their way. They should have done more to make it more welcoming to Republicans. Because instead, it was just basically, Democrats say Orange Man bad. Republicans say Orange Man good. Well, it was a partisan shit show. No wonder he didn't get impeached. No wonder only Mitt Romney voted in favor of impeachment. It wasn't even about impeaching him. Like, let's just keep it real. John Bolton can't really say this, but it's obvious to anybody that pays attention. John Bolton's got to be professional and all this kind of stuff. I get it. But it was because Nancy Pelosi wanted to look good and virtue signal. She didn't even care whether Trump got impeached or not. She wanted to show, this is going to make me look resistance. This is going to make me look Orange Man bad. And it worked. They hyped up their base. They got a bunch of Democrats that said, oh, yeah, let's impeach Trump. They got a bunch of Republicans that were like, oh, yeah, this is a bad idea. And then guess what? It turned out to be completely split along partisan lines, of course, because the goal wasn't to actually impeach him. If you seriously wanted to impeach him, you would go out of your way to get as many Republicans to vote for you as possible. They didn't care. It was just a partisan hack job so that they could score political points with their progressive base. Why would John Bolton want any part of that? So I understand why he's not voting for Joe Biden. I get it, right? So this is a guy who he's watched the party that he's campaigned for since he was 15 turn into a crap show, a circus. So the fact that he's not voting for Trump is enough of a condemnation of Trump. You don't need him to vote for Joe Biden. Him, John Bolton, not voting for the Republican president, that says it all right there. You don't need him to endorse Biden. It's not about him endorsing Biden. The fact that he hasn't endorsed Trump speaks volumes. That says everything. So he's his own man. He'll do what he wants. So yeah, and John Smith, he gets it. He says, I respect Bolton nevertheless. Democrats were only using him as a tool. Yeah, that's exactly it. And if you had like a Democrat equivalent of John Bolton and the Republicans were like, oh, come and testify for us against Obama or whatever. And then they're like, no. And then a bunch of brainlets on Twitter are like, what a coward. You should put country above whatever. It's like, no, the whole thing was partisan. Anybody who's accusing John Bolton of being partisan here misses the fact that the Democrats were partisan first on this. They could have made it a very neutral, very professional sort of thing and whatnot. But no, Nancy Pelosi, not really interested in that. So it's all about virtue signaling. So Reason Vision asks, did Bolton write any books? Oh, yeah, he's got 3 books, I believe. His latest one is The Room Where It Happened. It's pretty good so far. There's a moment in there I told Reese about. It's pretty funny. Trump has Bolton over to Mar-a-Lago. Says to him, he's like, dude, you have so many haters. Like, people either love you or they hate you, but you have a lot of haters, bro. And John Bolton's like, oh, yeah, you know? And then Donald Trump's like, dude, you and me are exactly alike. And Reese and I laugh so hard at that because obviously in Trump's view, he's like, you have haters, I have haters. We're the same dude. It's like, yeah, except you're a fan of the Russians. John Bolton's actually tough on the KGB. There's kind of a big difference there. You found out that the Russians were paying the Taliban to kill US soldiers, and you thought, meh, I owe them money. Whereas John Bolton looked at that and said, oh, like, we're resigning. I mean, hell, he resigned over Trump wanting to throw a peace party for the Taliban. Oh, we're exactly the same. No, you guys both have haters, but like Vosh and I both have haters. Does that make Vosh and me the same person? Like, I thought it was funny how childish, how reductive, how much of a simpleton Trump came across there. But but there's also another interesting segment to it, though, which is actually a saving grace for Donald Trump. Donald Trump wanted John Bolton for Secretary of State after Rex Tillerson. And you know what stopped it? It wasn't Trump. It wasn't Tucker. It was Rand Paul being the vote that would not make it possible. Rand Paul would have voted with the Democrats against John Bolton. And because of the split in the Senate, he wouldn't have become Secretary of State. So Trump did the next best thing he could, made him National Security Advisor. So I give Trump a lot of credit for that. That's something that the Never Trumpers won't say, but, I give credit where credit is due. I'm not in the interest of political hackery and stuff here. I want to speak the truth as I see it. So. Zaya says, Bolton endorsing Biden wouldn't be a total win for the Dems either. The Bernie bros were already raging over John Kasich. Imagine what they'd say about Biden. Oh, yeah, they call Biden a ghoul. They'd be like, look at this ghoul who's endorsing this other ghoul. Let's vote for Trump. By the way, the word ghoul is such a meme now. Anytime I hear it used on Twitter to refer to people, I always just think of the Kremlin Kyle line about he's a neocon ghoul. It's like everybody that doesn't agree with him on foreign policy is literally a neocon ghoul in his eyes. It's hilarious. Maljeet says both sides create false dichotomies. Mexinator says, funny how John Kerry was talking crap about Trump's foreign policy. It's hilarious. I haven't seen that yet, but I did hear about it. And you know what I tweeted out? I said, how ironic. The only person who has a worse foreign policy worse foreign policy than Donald Trump is laughing at Donald Trump's foreign policy. John Kerry wanted to surrender in Iraq. Like, that dude is a joke. John Kerry, why are we listening to John Kerry? John Kerry, like, the idea that John Kerry is going to call out Trump on foreign policy. Donald Trump has a better foreign policy than John Kerry. At least Donald Trump killed Soleimani. At least Donald Trump pulled out of the Iran quote-unquote deal. John Kerry supported that shit. He supported allowing them to get nukes and lifting the sanctions on them so that they could trade, bro. It's like, what? John Kerry, the man's an epic fool of the century. Yeah, Reason Vision's like they both have haters, but for different reasons. Yeah, that's why it's funny, right? Because Donald Trump's so simple. He's like, you have haters, I have haters. We're the same. Yeah, Bolton said he would write in a conservative candidate. That's correct. He's going to write in Jesse Ventura. Oh, man. That's hilarious. Well, we're going to wrap this up. So thank you for being here tonight, everybody. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, follow me over on Twitch. Links in the description below. If you'd like to support what I do, you can join the Patreon gang. Patreon links in the description below. Once we get to $100 a month, I'll be doing daily pre-recorded videos plus the daily streams. We're about 2/3 the way there right now, so let's keep it going. Every dollar matters. And additionally, if you'd like to send me a tip, my PayPal link is also in the description below. So thank you for watching, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.